All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This market recaps for Monday, October 9th, 2023. I'm going to start with going over the situational awareness or market breadth. Even though it was an up day, we still had kind of a mixed day when it comes to the breadth. And I'm showing you my spreadsheet with all my indicators on here, which you can see a lot of red saying we're in a bear market with a little bit of green shoots, a little bit of a bounce, which is what we're going through now. Kind of start off, percent of stocks, up and down. 4% was bearish. Stocks with over $100 million volume was bullish. 52-week highs versus 52-week lows was bearish. And then we've got kind of my intermediate and long-term indicators, which are still bearish. VIX closed at 1770, which is below 20, which is bullish. Second set of indicators, you see all the red with some green shoots coming. The short term's kind of mixed with some bullish, some bearish, and then my intermediate and long-term breadth indicators are also bearish. So what this is telling me is that we're in a bearish market and we are looking to bounce, or we are currently in a bounce. So I do have some small long positions, not full size, that I will be looking to take profits quickly on. We can go to, let's go to the summation next. Let's look at the weekly. Look at the NASDAQ. The 5-week EMA is below the 10-week moving average. Price is pushing up against the 5. T2108 came down to 20, is now rising. RSI 14 is still above 50 for the NASDAQ. That's bullish. Stoch is below 50, which is bearish, but now it's starting to rise. So this is where we're seeing the bump. We could see a bounce here. MACD is still negative. VIX is still below 20. Check the S&P. Five is below the 10 with price below the 5. RSI is now just above 50. That's bullish. Stoch is coming from oversold and starting to rise. That's bullish. And we'll check the total stock market index, which should be the same as the SPY, and it is. So what this is telling me is that we're in a bullish market. We've become oversold, and we're looking to get a bounce. Check it on the daily. So on the daily, total stock market index, the 10 is below the 20 is below the 50. That is bearish. Even though we're getting a bounce, I'm expecting to kind of move up and hit these moving averages here. Maybe fill this gap right here, which is slightly above the 50. I'm expecting to get there in the next, this week. RSI 21 is under 50, which is bearish. Stoch is moving out of oversold, and we do have a little bit of a divergence right here. Right there. You can see this is higher than here, but price is relatively around the same. Let's check the S&P. Exactly the same. Check the NASDAQ. Wrong symbol. QX. NASDAQ looks stronger. Stoch is now pushed above 50. That's bullish. RSI hasn't crossed 50 yet with the 21 period, but it's close. The 10 is below the 20. And the 20 is below the 50 moving average, but price is now pushing up above the 50. So, again, still bearish, but I have a few longs during this bounce. So let's look at some power stocks. Coal. Energy is still looking strong, especially coal, and natural gas is starting to as well. Oil's been having a pullback. CIX had a nice setup right here on this day. It is in an uptrend. And then we have a small breakout here. We'll check the weekly. Weekly, CEIX is in the power zone. This is bullish stock. Again, we are in a bearish market. The breath is not with us. So if I did take this, it would be with smaller size. BRT had a nice setup on Friday, a little bit of a follow through. ANF, this would be a buy right here, but I'm not taking this in this market environment. GPCR, biotech, I stay away from these. It's a nice setup though, but I don't trust biotechs. The day trader stock, MTEK, XPEO, trucking is breaking out. See how it consolidates these? I'll zoom in. Last maybe 5 days consolidates. Then you have a range expansion. This is the buy day, and then we did get a small follow through. AMR is another coal stock. Pulled back, riding the 20. This is still in an uptrend. Great, very, very good uptrend. You can see all the moving averages coming into alignment now. 5 is above the 10, 10's above the 20, 20 above the 50, 50 above the 100, 100 above the 150, 150 above the 200. It takes a lot to break these uptrends when they start like this. So I'm expecting AMR to have a nice run here. It is in the power zone right now with the RSI and the weekly above 70. You can see here on this week when the RSI jumps above 70 and you get a nice setup on the weekly, and then you get this run through here, 113%. This run right now, 50%. Let's go back to the daily. CrowdStrike, nice breakout on Friday. Kind of an ugly candle today. I'd probably take some profits on that. Just not, this would be like a 2-day trade. The charts for some of these stocks do not look as good as energy. This I would pass on. DUOL, I did take a small position in DUOL today. Stock is, has had some moves, pulled back, and now we're breaking out of this range right here. We had a nice range expansion on, higher than average volume. Not quite in the power zone, but we could be, if we can, keep breaking out here, maybe touch all-time highs or break out of all-time highs. So this is a good setup, and it aligns with the bounce. So I did take a small position there. PLTR, this, I would wait for this to set up again. I would not have taken it here. I saw this on Friday and didn't take it, but it did get a nice follow through. BTU is coal. This chart looks much weaker than AMR or CEIX. I'd probably look at those two before I looked at BTU. Pass. A lot of these look like bounces as opposed to setups for continuation breakouts. Excuse me. So not a ton of setups. Upstart looks like it might get a bounce, but this, I would not play this. This was a great breakout here. I did play Upstart on this breakout here back in July. Caught that move about 50%. Breaks out, forms the uptrend, has a pullback. This would have been a good buy here. And has another little pullback and a real strong buy here. 50%. And then it's just collapsed and it's been going sideways. I would, there's no reason to buy this stock. Crypto, might get a little bounce here. I'd stay away. AMC. See if the day traders get a hold of that one. And we're back to the beginning. Let's look at some ETFs. I'll go to this set. Again, I think we're bearish, but we're just bouncing. This is a daily aerospace and defense ETF, and you can see this giant move today, 13% on huge volume due to Hamas bombing Israel. Also explains the jump in oil. Oil was oversold anyway, but definitely getting a bounce. Natural gas, just running. And this right here is 25%. I would look for a pullback here and then a setup. And then if it produced a setup, I would buy in on that. LabD, which is a bearish ETF for biotech, tried to break out today and then got struck right back down. Still in an uptrend, still above the 10-day moving average and the 5. So you could hold it with a tight stop. That's not a setup to buy it though. UNG, natural gas. Pass on this. TQQ, I do have a very small position in TQQ. Just looking for, another maybe 1 or 2 day bounce. But not a lot of setups. I mean, this looks like a bottom bounce for XLU, but I don't play these types of setups. Couple more. Nothing's really looking like, a buy today. I did buy that DUOL. That was the only really nice setup I saw. Uranium, has had a nice run, and now it's starting to get sloppy. So we'll see what happens. So cold is the opposite of boil. So you can see as boil is rising, cold is falling. So if you want to play natural gas from the long or short side, you could use these levered ETFs, boil and cold. Cold with a K. Bonds pulling back, which also helps stocks rise. All right, last thing, we'll look at the big 7. Apple looks, to be getting a bounce here. We'll see how far it goes. Amazon not bouncing, just kind of holding. Google hitting an all-time high almost. Meta got a follow through, not much. You know, here's the all-time high at about 325. Microsoft bouncing. Netflix is finally getting a little bit of buying, but it's hitting its head right on the 20 now. Nvidia is just kind of going sideways. Same with Tesla, and the total stock market index is getting a bounce. So overall, still think we're in a bearish market. We're just getting a bounce. I'm kind of nibbling on some longs, but you know, ready to sell out of those and wait for a setup on the short side. That's all I got for today. If you like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe.